There are so many adventure rigs out there, and if you're looking to go into a #Vanlife lifestyle, how do you pick the right rig for you?
Mm-hmm.
This week on Rangeless, we're going over it. Welcome back to the Rangeless Travel Podcast. We're your favorite adventure travel hosts. I'm Britt, and this is Ryan. Together, we travel the world by plane, train, and '89 Ford Sportsmobile, capturing the beauty, adventure, and culture in every corner of the globe. Currently, we're traveling the U.S. in an old van with our 2 dogs, Layla and Cedar. Every Tuesday, we share stories and tips to inspire you to book that next trip. So go ahead and don't be shy. Follow along with us at Rangeless_ on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Let's dive in.
I think starting off, we should start like smallest and easiest entry first.
Because let's be real, van life, if we're being completely honest, is not for everyone. If you don't like camping, you're not going to like van life. It's basically just camping all the time.
Yeah.
So first things first, we think to get your feet wet, most people, unless you live in a really big city, are going to have a car.
Yes.
So you can start by car camping.
Mm-hmm.
Car camping, there's lots of pros, there's cons to it. Car camping is good because, like, you start getting used to finding free campsites or even paid campsites.
Mm-hmm.
You drive out for the weekend with your tent, or maybe you build out a little platform in the back and you have your little platform.
Right. And, like, the pop-up, like, the SUVs, you can get the pop-up tents that, like, go on the roof and stuff. Like, it. I still class that as, like, car camping.
It is. So this, people do it full-time. Absolutely. I've seen countless people who are living out of their car full-time. Now, it's not going to be the most comfortable. You're giving up a lot of your, like, creature comforts to be able to live that lifestyle. But it's not a bad place to start or to see if you're even liking this lifestyle, right? So we recommend that someone who's, like, wants to put their feet in the water, maybe they're, like, a weekend warrior, maybe, you know, they don't have the budget to spend on a bigger build, start off with what you got. If a car is what you have, it's a great place to start, and it's going to get your toes wet and see if you like this lifestyle and you're actually interested in it or not. The next one, I think, is kind of a self-converted.
Yeah, smaller van or ambulance or small school bus. Like,
even a big, like a schoolie, a van life. It's those rigs that you can see on Instagram that aren't so perfect.
Yeah.
Because those perfect ones, they had someone else fit them out for them. They most of the time have someone filled it out, but this is like a self-converted.
Right. The self-converted, there's a big learning curve, depending on what you want to put in. Like, you go bare bones and just put a few cabinets and a bed in it, or you can, like, do a full propane and water, plumbing, solar setup, and, like, there's a lot of learning that goes into doing all of that and fitting it out. Mm-hmm. But it saves a huge amount of money from getting it built out, and it's good skills to have. Like, it's good, like, learning. Like,
yeah, some of the pros of this is you can have a very varied budget going into that, right?
Yeah.
Because you can find an ambulance for, like, you know, used pretty affordably, all the way up to, like, a school bus. Like, my first adventure rig that I ever bought was a short school bus. I bought it for $4,000 off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
It was already gutted and had a subfloor laid down. So, like, you can find things in a smaller budget. Now, things you are going to have to remember if you are self-converting is it's going to take time. Mm-hmm. It's going to take time.
You need a space to be able to do it.
You need the space to be able to do it. You need the time to be able to do it. But with that you can do it in pieces. So if you're still working, you can be doing it on the weekend, and you're still making money like a normal, if you're working like a 9 to 5, you're working in person, you're still having money coming in, so you can do it piece by piece by piece. Mm-hmm. With that, there's a lot of options to customize it. So you can customize it to exactly what you want.
Exactly.
With that customization comes, if you don't have any experience in doing van life before, you may think you want things that you actually don't want. That's where, if you started out doing a little car camping, you kind of get a feel of the things that are important to you. Like, this is Ryan's first time.
Yeah.
Living into a van. And I know multiple times he'd been like, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. And I'm like, no. And then he'll be like, you don't know. Like, I can just, like, see, like, the attitude coming on me. He's like, you don't even know. You don't even know what I want. You don't even know what I like. And then we move and he's like,
never mind.
Shut up. You were right.
Yeah, it's just because everything needs to be multifunctional, multi-purpose. Everything needs to be compact, and yeah.
It's not even that. Sometimes you think specific luxuries are things that you absolutely need that are non-negotiables, and then those things that you thought were luxuries from living in a normal house or just a life as a human in the world, you start living without these things and you're like, wait, I don't even miss them, and you learn what your like true luxuries are that you actually need.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the big benefit with self-converted, if you're going with a van option, is you have the option to be stealth. So like it looks like just a regular commercial truck from the outside, or it has like hints of being a van that you're living in, but like unless someone's like in the know, they won't really know unless they're like staring up looking for like fans or solar panels on the roof.
Yeah.
But
so who do you think the self-converted is for? Like, what's the person that you think should go with the self-converted
I think
option?
someone whose budget is a little bit tighter than if you're buying a built-out like $100,000.
Yeah. If you
RV.
have the budget or you're...
And you have the time.
Yeah.
And you want to do it. You want to make it yours. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think it's the person that is a little handy or is willing to take the time to learn. Person who has a little bit of a tighter budget, and the person who wants very specific things. So the person, like, there's people that self-build it out and then they like stream Twitch full time in their van places. And then there's people that build it out and they're like, no, I'm going like super off-road. So I need to make sure that the vehicle I get is like 4-wheel drive and can go to anywhere I want to go.
Yeah.
That's who's doing the self-converted.
Yeah, or they have a specific hobby, like, oh, they're surfers or they're like mountain bikers and they need to build it around that, like, so their garage is big enough to fit the mountain bikes in perfectly and things like that.
With that, it goes like, you can build it for winter or summer, right? So if you know that you're like a skier, snowboarder, you're going to build that build out for winter.
Yeah.
If you know that you're a summer person, like, you're going to know to make sure that you have 2 Dometic fans to like make a makeshift AC, right? So you can build it to your desires and what you need. That's the person that's going to do a self-build.
Yeah.
If you have a bigger budget, you can get it custom built. And with that, getting like the different adventures and things like that, I think the next one is a truck camper. And I think there's a lot of pros and cons for truck campers.
Yeah.
This might just be because I've been like
Eyeing them
now for a few months. We love our van. We're staying with this for a while. But I've been eyeing these truck campers because I feel like they work in so many areas for so many different people. If you're just starting off, or you know that like this lifestyle of a digital nomad on the road, like #Vanlife, is something that you're working towards, you can do it in steps. So you can buy a truck, let's say, right? And use it as your daily driver. It's just a truck. It's just a truck.
Yeah.
So you now know that like you can take the steps. Then you get the slide-in when you're ready. Now these slide-ins, I have seen them like bare bones gutted. Like you have to put everything in them, but like for $1,000. And then I've seen them all the way up to like 70 grand. So there's something for whatever your budget is, whatever your goals are. Now, I think these are really good because you can get places with the truck. Because if you're getting a truck for this, make sure it's 4-wheel drive. Don't be silly.
Yeah.
You can get places that none of the other vehicles are going to be able to get to. None of the other adventure bikes are going to be able to touch the places that you get to. So if you know that you're like, no, I want to be like in Baja on the beach, like traveling into like the super remote beaches. I want to spend time like every summer. I'm going up to Alaska. I'm doing like the mountain passes in Colorado. I'm driving on the crazy roads like in the desert. Like those are the things you want to do. Like you are down for the ultimate adventure. I think the truck camper is probably going to be like the best vehicle to get you where you want to go.
I think that's pretty fair, yeah.
Yeah. And now the budget is going to be like going to be a wide range of like different budgets, because you're going to have to buy the truck, which can be expensive. But if you're planning it a few years out, you can plan to finance the truck and then pay it off before you leave. Or if you're working remotely, like you just finance it or you just buy it. And then same with the slide-in. Now, I think it also works for people who are working seasonal jobs.
Yeah.
Because the truck camper, first of all, it fits in a normal parking spot. Second of all, you can slide it out and leave it, and then drive your truck around and leave it where you're being. So like, let's
Yeah.
say you are a river guide, or you are planting trees up in Canada, or you're a hiking guide or rock climbing guide, a guide of whatever sort, and you're taking people out. A lot of times those jobs, you can work into your contract with them that you get a hookup spot or a camp spot or whatever, and you can park your camper there, your sliding camper, and then drive your truck around and like live a very normal existence, and then go on to your next spot for the next
And do
season.
the same thing, yeah.
So I think it'd be great for a seasonal worker.
Yes, and then it does have the other added benefit. So like a van has the drawback of if something mechanically goes wrong with it and you have to
Yeah.
take it to a shop, what you're living in is attached to that. Whereas with a slide-in, you can like drop your like living quarters off.
Your home and your vehicle are no longer
separate.
attached.
Yeah, and if anything like catastrophic goes wrong with the vehicle and you need to replace it, you can just switch it out and put it in a new truck. Whereas with a van, you are stuck with that van. You have to fix it. You have to do whatever.
Because that's your home. And now your home is in the shop.
Yes.
Which could also have its own issues come up with that.
Yeah, definitely. So there's that definite pro there for
And
truck
with
campers.
that being separate, like having your home and your vehicle separate, I think our next one is travel trailers and fifth wheels.
Yes.
Again, these can be small to very large.
Yes.
And it can be from a small budget to a very large budget. So it fits a lot of different things. But I think the biggest benefit of that is you now are just pulling a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So you get so much more space.
Some of them are like 3-bedroom apartments, but yeah.
So yeah, some of them are like penthouses if you've ever spent any time in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just pulling a trailer. Yeah, it's got a full bathroom. It's gonna have a kitchen. It's gonna have
Everything that an
everything
apartment
you
has.
need in a trailer.
Now, the drawbacks of that is if you're looking for like real adventure spots, you can't get into them anymore. That trailer cannot get into those spots that you want to be. So if you want to be like ultimate stealth, like well, first of all, there's no stealth. So there's no like going to cities really, you know, there's no like, also you're now dragging a trailer behind you, so it is going to be harder to drive. I mean, I can't pull a trailer because
it's harder to drive, it's harder to back it up, you can't fit in any spots.
You really have to know your specs with
you have to know where you're going, because sometimes you might hit a dead end and how are you going to turn around? Like, yeah,
but if you are, and I think this is perfect, again, for either a seasonal worker,
travel nurse,
or someone who like works like all over, you know, because you can pull into a campground, because these are really for campgrounds.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think a pull behind travel trailer is for a campground.
Yeah.
You can pull into the campground, you unhitch your vehicle, which could be a truck, or it could even be like a bigger SUV. And you drive to work, you do your job, you come back, and you have a full apartment that is your home.
Yeah.
It's very livable. Also, if you have children, you now can get them with multiple bedrooms. So if you are a family, you now don't have all of your children just like stacked up. Like I've seen some horror videos where like it's like this is where my one kid sleeps, and it's literally a towel on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope they're just on a vacation, because if they're living like that full time, that's unacceptable. But if you are like a travel nurse or something and you have a family, people have their own space, their own bedrooms. There's more storage. They're larger. If you're pulling into campgrounds, again, different campgrounds have different amenities. So you may, first of all, you're plugged in and hooked up, so you can use everything freely. Like when you flush the toilet, it goes into the septic, not into your black tank. The power is plugged in, so you're not, keeping track of your batteries and your solar and everything. You're just plugged in. You're using everything.
Run your air conditioning.
You can run everything. Yeah, so if you're traveling and you have a family, I think the travel trailer is the way to go. Or if you're like a travel nurse and you are working in a location, and then you're going to do like your 6, 12, 8 months or 8-week contracts, whatever it is, then you go to the next spot, right? I think like that. Or even if you want to do weekend trips with a family. I think that's what the travel trailer or the fifth wheel is.
it comes in clutch, yeah.
Yeah, it comes
definitely.
in good. And don't forget, with the campgrounds, there's also, again, I said all the amenities, but there's more than just the plugins and the hookups. So you can look for different things that fit you. So, like, some of them have gyms, some of them are at the beach, some of them have swimming pools, some of them have, like, I've seen them with, like gold panning at the campground. I've seen them have like water slides. They're on a lake. They have libraries. So there's lots of really cool things. Bars and cafes. There's also communities in here.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of families that use like a travel trailer and stuff like that, and they'll travel in like caravans and go to different places, and a lot of them will like unschool or they're road schooling. So they'll homeschool the kids or whatever program they're using, but it's like a form of homeschooling. They'll homeschool the kids in groups. So now they're road schooling, homeschooling, whatever, with like multiple different families, and like they're just going to different places, which is kind of cool. I don't know that much about it, but I've seen some of it online, and it's a pretty cool concept if you build that community up. And then there's also just communities within these campgrounds.
Yeah, I think so. And then some of the more like
There's motorhomes.
Yeah.
You're forgetting motorhomes. Motorhomes are those huge, like almost look like tour buses. We've passed them before, and Ryan's like, "Is that a tour bus?" I'm like, "That's a Provost. That's like $1 million." These things are expensive. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can find cheaper ones
that are used or
that are
like
used
from the 80s or
on Facebook Marketplace
they
or whatever.
might not be in the best condition though, and then
you can find them.
Probably pretty hard to get parts for. I don't know.
They're huge though. They're so big. You are not stealth. Where do you store that?
Yeah.
You have to like have an RV park or like RV storage to store it, because you're gonna need somewhere to store it. How do you drive that? I'd be scared. I'm scared to drive the van.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let alone.
You're thinking about height, lengths, all of this stuff.
If you take a wrong turn, that thing is.
Yeah. Tunnels, everything. No. Yeah, but then these things have like every bell and whistle you could imagine. Like, you know, they got the granite countertops, the fancy appliances.
I've seen them where your sports car can go underneath.
Yeah, like
and then like it slides out. I've seen it where your boat can go underneath and it slides out. Like those are crazy. If you have unlimited budget and you're just like looking to go to the campgrounds, get a giant
At that point, you don't need a house at all.
No.
Like,
I mean, people have been on parkways and stuff. You'll notice a lot of retirees travel the country in those.
Yeah.
And they travel a lot in travel trailers too, but I feel like you see a lot of older retired people living their best life, traveling the country in those giant motorhomes.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean...
They're so expensive.
A lot of people drive those things and like they've never driven anything that big before. You know, I really think you should have a CDL for something that big. But you don't need it. If it's a recreational vehicle, you could just drive it legally. But
yeah. But if the space is something you're after, but that budget is just like not there, you can go the full-size schoolie. To bring us back to those self-converted ones.
Yes.
If you want the space but don't have the budget, you can self-convert a big schoolie. There is going to be so much work involved. But
there's a huge community out there of people that do it, and there's like forums and everything for anything you want to do to a school bus, there's pretty much someone's done it before. Yeah. Like I've seen people raise the roofs and like do a custom everything.
I think the schoolies are for people that want the space, but they don't have the budget for those like giant motorhomes.
Right.
And once you go into that route, like you really just have to stay out west with it because you need the space. The east is hard for van life to begin with. Yeah. So like if you have a full-size schoolie, like there's just very few places for you to go. And a lot of the campgrounds are not going to accept you. Yeah. So you need to be out with the BML land, or you need to have your own land and you like build out your schoolie and it's kind of just like your home.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you're going with that. Now, there's also some, like, specialty vehicles.
Yeah. So, like what we said earlier with the truck camper, the slide in into the truck is probably the best off-road for bang for budget that you can get. Like, there's obviously things that are going to be better than a truck off-road. There's, like, specialty, like, even, like, specialty, like the earth roamer stuff, the
that's what we're talking
overlanding
about
things,
here, yeah.
like Unimog, the military surplus things that are like converted to like go for 1,200 miles without fuel and like have 500 gallons of water on board and all of this. Yeah.
Every time we pass one of these like specialty RV camper
Overlanding
things,
rigs.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're overlanding rigs. Ryan is like, "Do you see that? Do you see it? Look at it." And he's like trying to peek in. Like he goes full creep mode. He's like, "I need to see what it looks like inside. I need to see in there."
I do.
So if you have one and you like see us somewhere on the road, invite us over. We're so curious. You can come to our place too. We'll show you our spot. But we want, please. We'll bring some beer.
They're so cool. They're really cool. I really like those, but like, I mean, they're very expensive to fit out. And then...
Like Earth Roamers are $1 million.
Yeah.
You're talking about $1 million Earth Roamer. And they are so cool. But you can get anywhere. That's the benefit. People take them up in the tundra. They take them like down into like jungle off-road. You can get anywhere on them. And they have so much space for supplies that you can live for a long time off the grid.
Right.
So, and they're cool. Now there's other like things that you can get into this kind of like
nomadic
lifestyle. So that's like not a vehicle, right? So liveaboards, sailboats.
Yeah. That's one of my dreams.
So cool. Like if that's something, if you know how to sail, if that's what you're into, like there's so much.
Yeah.
Sailing is awesome.
And it can be pretty much free. You're not paying for petrol because you're sailing.
But yeah, but you have to buy the sailboats. So
and everything on a sailboat's going to break, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And yeah,
but you can sail anywhere there's a beach.
Yeah,
you can sail there. So that's kind of cool that you're not like limited to just land. Well, you're limited to only water. You're limited to not land.
70% of the earth is covered in water. So.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. And you can catch your own fish and all of that. Yeah, it's good.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The next one is a tuk-tuk.
That's pretty niche. That is pretty niche.
It's pretty niche, but this might be too niche. But I lived out of a tuk-tuk for a month in Sri Lanka. So I rented just a normal tuk-tuk. And in Sri Lanka, there's no camping law, so you can camp wherever you want. So I went around Sri Lanka for a month, camping, and then also like sometimes staying in like normal accommodations and living out of the tuk-tuk. Amazing, awesome, highly recommend. But there was also an option for a tuk-tuk camper, and like the seat folded down and it turned into a little bed in the back, and you could go around in your tuk-tuk camper. And the place I used was called tuktukrental.com, and they have spots in Sri Lanka and in India.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was like really cool. And now I wanted to tuk-tuk through India, but I haven't done it yet, but I will. Hint, hint.
I've heard of a guy, and he's in a tuk-tuk, and he's going from South America all the way up to Alaska.
Yeah, I saw him too, him and his dog, and he's in a tuk-tuk.
That's
so
cool.
People are doing it. It's just a little niche.
Yeah.
But, that's something to look into if you're looking for a rig. Don't rule out a tuk-tuk.
And then, like, something if you're going, like, super, like, small and compact and, like, ultralight, or not, like, ultralight, but, like, as small as you can, like, a simple motorbike with a tent.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Is something like I was looking into doing that before we actually met. I was planning on doing a year travel out on a motorbike around the world solo, and now we're doing Vanlife. So,
and if you're looking ultralight, you can do the same thing with a bicycle.
Yeah, and you don't even have to pay for gas. It's
you just heel toe express.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, there's plenty of people that have cycled around the world.
Yeah. There's even a guy I've seen on like YouTube, I think, and he has like
I've seen the
guy with the unicycle. He's unicycling. That's even lighter. It's only got one wheel. He's unicycling like around, and then there's another guy though. He has like a house that he like pulls, like it's a little like
little trailer that goes behind his bicycle.
Goes around, and he rides
that. That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, if this is something you're looking into doing, there's endless options. Or if you're currently doing this and you're doing it in an option we did not touch on, please let us know and share us. Get in contact with us. We'll bring you on the podcast.
Yeah.
And that is it for this week. If you want more from us, you can find us at Rangeless_ on YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, TikTok, and Instagram. And until next week.
Bye.